So I had a pretty cool comment left by one of you guys. He was asking, how strong should eighth, through ninth graders be, right, on bench press? And this is a really good question. A lot of people are curious about this, right? And I'm going to go on a little personal, opinionated tangent that I've experienced and what I've seen through high school, and then I'll get more into the stats, right? So when I was in eighth grade, I was about 14 years old, 13, 14. And I was going down to my rec center, right? Rec center, it was about 3/4 of a mile from my old childhood house. Cause I didn't have a gym membership. Obviously I was freaking 14. Best I got, right? So I went down there. It was really cool, right? We had incline Smith and we had some weights. It isn't like anything crazy, but it's a local rec center, right? Yeah, so I, tested it out. I went under the bench, I put a 25 on each side, and I remember just grinding that out, right? Smith machine, obviously, back then especially, it was considered taboo. Like, no one was ever using it. It was really looked down upon, right? How times have changed, am I right? You see everyone spamming incline Smith now. But I was doing that on flat incline Smith, and I had 25s on each side. And I thought I was really strong, and I guess I was. But remember, 25-pound bar is what it usually is on the incline, and I had 25 on each side, so that's about 75 pounds. And I was about 115, 113, something like that. And I thought that was really cool, right? And then I went about my day. Going into ninth grade, though, I was in high school basketball. I was doing basketball, and a lot of the kids couldn't even bench press a bar, right? A bar being 45 pounds. It was kind of sad. But I mean, there's a memes about like just high school basketball players being weak as crap. But some like the average or the above average would be like 110 pounds, 115 or 90 pounds, right? And usually whoever benched the most would be considered the center, right? In other words, the stronger you are, the more you'd probably be in the paint or whatnot. Even if you weren't tall, like if you could bench press the most, because it was a pressing movement, and that's what they kind of do. For defense and whatnot. But yeah, like 115 was considered pretty like elite when it came to being like a freshman in high school. You didn't really see much people doing that. And even in high school, when I was in high school, right? Or high school football. I don't know why I keep saying that. Anyways, I was in high school football. The whole thing that the coaches said were like, I want you to at least like bench your body weight. And most of us were about like a buck 120. A lot of us were under 120. Again, we were scrawny freshmen, right? And if you were to be able to bench your body weight, like 120 pounds or maybe 135, you were immediately considered like strong, right? And then getting into the sophomore year of high school, if you were to hit 185, like 185 was our 225. 185 puts you on varsity no matter what. Even if you were trash in football, if you were bench pressing 185 as a sophomore, I think you probably got some steroid accusations, right? 185 back then was like, again, 225 back in 2023. I guess in today's, standards, that would be like 405 for us freshmen or sophomores even. And because, 185, you were just immediately an O-lineman or a linebacker, right? Like you were probably a hefty big boy. Or 200, insane weight. That's still impressive. Even today's standards, that's still very impressive, right? And going to more statistics now, I have a picture of this, from Google, also from multiple sources. 90 pounds, 90 to 150 pounds would be considered very impressive, for an eighth to slash through ninth grader, right? Because again, we're still growing. If anything, we are in the brink of growing, right? This is like the beginning. This is when puberty starts, when your voice starts deepening, right? Or your balls start dropping. Your test is just starting to, kick in and stuff like that. So don't expect to be like just elite world class as a freshman or as an eighth grader, right? Like, no, that's not how it works. I mean, there are some freaks out there, and, they're out there, but again, those are genetic outliers, or even they're probably taking some of their dad's, stash or stuff like that. So don't try to compare yourself to everybody, but if you fall within, I'd say the 100, even 90 pound to 135 pound, and then if you're above that, you are immediately above average. You are very strong, and that's insane amounts of weight for your class. And yeah, I hope you're doing sports or like entering powerlifting competition because their potential is really crazy. If you guys have any other video comments or topics you want me to go over, just leave them down below. I love doing stuff like this. It makes my job easier. And I really appreciate you guys.